Hey you guys, it's your girl T. So I want to come on here and talk about this viral story everybody's been sending to me. This whole situation is just insane. So unless you've been living under a rock, I'm sure you guys have all seen this story by now. It's about 4 African American suspects in Chicago, Illinois. One is 18-year-old Jordan Hill, 18-year-old Tessa Faye Cooper, 18-year-old Brittany Heron, and then 24-year-old Tanisha Covington. And Tanisha Covington is the sister of Brittany Heron. So this entire situation is a hot damn mess. So what initially happened is that BML kidnapping started trending on Twitter. It was the #1 trending topic. This was the day before yesterday. And so I go to the trending topic because I'm like, what is BML kidnapping? And so I see this video. It's literally 40 something minutes. And you see these young black kids and they're basically torturing this young white man. So I could only stomach the first 4 minutes. And you guys seen the tweet that I sent out. I couldn't watch past the 4 minutes. After they cut that boy in his scalp, I was like, I'm out. This is some sadistic, evil ass shit. And the fact that they were live streaming this was even more demonic, okay? So now a lot more information has come out on this story and I want to cover it. So what they're saying is that basically the young man, the young white boy in the video, he knew them. He went to school with the 18-year-olds. They all just graduated. And he's also disabled. He has a mental disability. And supposedly these kids knew him. They knew his father, his family, and they happened to just run into him. And they ended up kidnapping him in their van. They took him from a Chicago suburb. And supposedly they took him back to their hood. I don't know if these guys are from the west side or the south side. But later on, after him being captive for 24 to 48 hours, somebody found this young man just wandering around, dazed, traumatized. And he was found on the west side of Chicago. So this entire situation is just sickening, okay? I want to go ahead and play you guys a news clip really quick. Go ahead and check this out. I'm going to come back with the rest of my commentary.
Joins me now with the latest. So I know Chicago police just held a press conference about this tape. What did they say? What do we know about this?
And Anderson, I just got off the phone with police with a few more disturbing details. They tell me that the victim in this particular case was targeted because he has a mental health challenge. They described him as someone who was very tender, and while it took some police work, they said they were able to find the offenders, like you mentioned, 4 people in custody. But let me set the scene here. According to police, officers were patrolling on the west side of Chicago when they saw a man was disoriented and traumatized. So the police officers sent him to the hospital, actually, Anderson. And then there was a battery call that came in. Police officers responded to that, and they were able to link the evidence from this battery call to this disoriented man. And then there you have it, video on social media that was able to fill in the picture. Now, before we show you this video, we should warn you that it is very disturbing. Take a look.
Yeah, grabbing that nigga. Fuck, cut his motherfucker. Oh, shit, boy. Damn, you cut it. I put a whole patch out of this shit, boy.
Why you do that?
Ain't no blood on the blade, though. That was you get. Donald Trump.
Oh, my brother, my
Hey, right here. He represents Trump. This PPG hothead. Hey, this PPG hothead speaking. Y'all see this right here? We finna put this in the trunk, and we finna put a brick on the gas and let that. You understand?
So that was broadcast live on social media while they were doing that, right? And then, I mean, they're talking about Donald Trump. They're saying, I mean, it seems like there's, in their words, some sort of a racial dimension to all this.
You know, it really does sound like that, Anderson. We asked the police about that, and of course the obvious question is this a hate crime? Is this somehow related to politics and all the tensions post the election? And police say that at this point they're still investigating, but they do believe, they tell me, that this is more related to this young man's mental health challenge. Now, you saw in that video, he's white. The offenders you saw in that video are black, so it definitely raises all of these questions. But at this point, they still say they are still investigating.
All right, so you guys just saw that news clip. Now, like I said, I couldn't watch the whole 41 minutes, but what I later on found out is that they also made this young man drink out the toilet. They're making him scream, "Fuck Trump." They were saying that they were going to strip him butt naked while cutting off some of his clothes. They did a lot of really evil things to this guy, and they said initially what happened is that the girl Brittany caught herself recording on her phone, but somehow she ended up on Facebook Live. I don't believe that whole somehow she ended up on Facebook Live. I believe that this demonic, sinister cunt chose to hit the Facebook Live button. This bitch knew what she was doing, okay? So she hits Facebook Live, and if this was really an accident and she really wanted to cover her tracks, she would have turned off Facebook Live. But no, she didn't. She continued to stream for not 1 to 2 minutes, for 41 minutes while her and her cohorts sat here torturing this young man in front of the world. And then when people were even telling them in the comment section, like, stop, what are you guys doing? Y'all gonna go to jail? Y'all are bugging. What the hell's wrong with y'all? They were laughing about it. My sister said that, we're mean, we doing too much. Like this shit was okay. This entire situation to me is disgusting. And a lot of people want this to be investigated as a hate crime. A lot of white folks are demanding that. They're saying that it would not be a racial crime, but they will consider it a hate crime towards people who are disabled. Because they're saying that they didn't kidnap him just because he was white. They supposedly kidnapped him because he was disabled, which I believe is bullshit. Because they kept saying, fuck Trump and, fuck the ops, fuck the police and all that bullshit. So the thing that bothers me with this entire situation is it's caused, once again, a huge racial divide. Our country is already divided. And online, you see the racism thick as day. And you see it on both sides. You know what I'm saying? Black people say they can't be racist. They can only be prejudiced. Whatever you want to call it. Prejudice. Either way, you see it on both sides. Now, people took to this girl's Facebook page, Brittany Heron, and people are going in on her. And looking from her page, she's just a fucking hood rat. This bitch is always in and out of jail. She brags about being in and out of jail. Talking about, I got to go to court Monday. They better hurry up because I got to work Tuesday. She's smoking weed. She's doing all types of stuff. The other girl, Tanisha, the oldest one, you would think as an older sister, she'd be a better influence on her younger sister. But no, she's a typical hood rat as well. And she's a mother. That's the scary thing. This sadistic bitch sat there and watched all this go down, and you have children. And I would not be surprised if there were children in the household while they were torturing that young man. But like I said, people have taken to this girl's Facebook page, and I'm just reading some of the most vile, racist comments. I'm just to the point now, to be honest with y'all, I'm personally tired of the whole back and forth when it comes to racism. I'm tired of black folks online screaming about racism and things not being fair. And I'm damn sure tired of white folks online screaming about reverse racism and how things are not fair for them. The whole situation to me is just crazy. Why can't we look at this situation and say, you know what, this is just wrong? I don't care if the races were reversed. This is just some fucked up demonic ass shit. You don't do that to somebody. Why does everything have to turn into this huge racial blow up online? You have people pulling up all types of facts about different cases, and white folks are saying if the races were reversed and this was 3 white guys and they were doing this to a black man, it would be all over the news, it would be all over the television, it would be considered a hate crime. And then black folks are saying, well, you had that case in Joliet where you had them white kids who killed those 2 black boys and they had sex on top of their bodies and nobody really covered that. Y'all wasn't ranting and raving, y'all wasn't mad about that. And y'all know me, if you've been on my channel long enough, you guys know I have 2 channels. I have this channel and I also have my news channel. And I did cover that story. And I was very disgusted when that went down a few years back, okay? But we have to really have an honest conversation in this country about racism and also about sentencing. Because what irks me with this situation is that I know with all the outrage and how people are mad at this case, as they should be, you don't mess with nobody in the way that they did and the way they live streamed it, they're definitely going to get some time. But there was another case that just happened about a month ago, and this is concerning an 18-year-old man. His name is John R.K. Howard. And basically what happened with this situation is that him and along with 2 other members of his high school football team, they decided to sexually assault their African-American teammate. His name was Antoine McDaniel, and they assaulted him in the locker room. These people are all from Idaho, and this happened last October. So they assaulted this young man, and then it came out just about a month ago that basically John Howard, this young white boy who's 18, he decided to take a plea deal. And in that plea deal, he was able to avoid any jail time for his unspeakable actions. When really, he should have been charged as a fucking sexual offender, and he should still be sitting his ass in jail. There's nothing okay about that. They literally sexually assaulted, you know, you might as well call it rape of this young man, and none of them are doing any time. He's basically going to get 3 years worth of probation, and he's going to serve 300 hours of community service. Once he completes this without any violation, and without any future crimes, he'll be okay, and everything will be eradicated upon completion. But if there's any violations of the probationary terms, he can serve 10 years in prison and a fine of up to $50,000. So he basically got away with sexual assault. You know, so that's what pisses me off about this entire situation, is that you can spin stuff any type of way. You know, I think that as people, we should be outraged anytime something evil happens to another human being, regardless if they're black, regardless if they're white. You guys know me. I talk about all stories on this channel. I don't give a damn who's being affected. I look at people as human beings first and foremost, because again, don't nobody get more attacked than me. I get attacked from racist white people, from, you know, fake pro-black people, you know, who feel like as a black woman I should just shut the hell up. So I get it from both people, but I don't let the ignorant people speak louder than the folks who have common sense. And I'm always going to do videos taking up for what's right and what's wrong. And I'm not going to stop that. And to me, this entire situation is fucked up. What those black kids did to this young white man is fucked up. That doesn't make you a coon because you're empathetic towards a victim of another race. So I'm seeing black folks writing stuff like that. Like, y'all sitting here, you know, all sad and shit and going off. But, you know, the white man had us in slavery and they did this and this, that to us. So we can't feel empathy for both situations? Yes, slavery was messed up. You know what I'm saying? Yes, white people did some evil things to black people back in the day. But that does not negate the fact that it's 2017 and you have 4 young people, 3 of which literally just graduated high school. And instead of them preparing to go to college and better themselves or get a job, they're sitting here kidnapping somebody and literally assaulting them on Facebook Live. I think that we need to focus on what's going on right now and stop making excuses and stop trying to deflect. Caring about this situation as a black person does in no way cancel out how I feel about slavery or what's happened to other black people. You know what I'm saying? Or crimes that have happened to other black people. People need to realize that you can be empathetic towards more than one cause and towards other people of other races without you being called a coon or a bedwench. You know, the comments I'm seeing online is just really sickening. You have the racist people who are taking these 4 degenerates and basically using them in their mugshots to not only paint all black people with one brush, but also using them as the face for Black Lives Matter, which is complete BS. You know, so this story has just, you know, caused this huge racial divide, and I'm just over it. Because like I said, at the end of the day, as human beings, you should be able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. When you have people who are treating people unbecoming, who are torturing people, kidnapping people, sodomizing people, they need to be dealt with. They need to be in jail. These 4 people need to be locked the hell up. But also those 2 white guys who sodomized that mentally ill black man, they should have been locked up as well. So I think that's where some of the frustration comes in from some black people. They feel like when black folks mess up, they get the book thrown at them. But then a lot of times when white folks, you know, do the same heinous crimes, they don't get as much time. You know, so, and again, it can just depend on a bunch of different factors. But I'm pretty sure with all of these kids being over the age of 18 and the one being 24 years old, they're definitely going to do time. But I think that this situation should be a wake-up call as to how twisted people are nowadays and how people have serious issues. For them to sit here and not have a problem live streaming this, I mean, it's almost like, what is wrong with them? They all look like a bunch of just dead-eyed sociopaths while they were sitting there attacking that boy, going off on him, cussing him out, hitting him, cutting him. I couldn't believe that these kids saw nothing wrong with their behavior. They weren't embarrassed. They weren't ashamed. It was just really disgusting to sit there and watch it. Like I said, after the first 4 minutes, I had to click off because I'm not going to sit here and watch somebody be tortured. I didn't sign up for that mess. But like I said, all this divisiveness and people turning this into a huge race issue and people trying to tie these 4 degenerates with Black Lives Matter and white folks trying to use this as an aha moment to be racist. And then you got black folks trying to use this as an aha moment to, to do reverse prejudices, you know what I'm saying? And say, well, white folks did this, so it doesn't matter if that happened to that white boy. No, you should be disturbed whenever anything happens to another human being. Point blank, period. Regardless of race, gender, sexual orientation, you should feel empathy when somebody is treated this messed up. You know what I'm saying? And if you can't feel empathy because it's a young white boy, well then put a young black boy's face on him. You know what I'm saying? And then see if your empathy chick kicks in. Because to me, the whole situation is disgusting, and I'm not going to apologize for being disgusted by how these 4 black people treated that young white boy. I think as people, we have to stand together and speak against all crimes. Don't just speak against some shit when it happens to your group. And that's what I see on both sides. And like I said, I just feel like in this country, there just needs to be an open dialogue about race. There needs to be an open dialogue about sentencing, like I said before, and what to do. I'm denouncing anything evil that happens to somebody who's innocent, who doesn't deserve it, regardless of their gender, regardless of their race, regardless of their sexual orientation. So the whole situation is just really disturbing. I feel really bad for that young man. But these kids, whatever happens to them, I'm not about to shed not one damn tear. If they end up getting 10 years in prison or 20 years in prison, oh fucking well. Treat folks how you want to be treated. Imagine if somebody had kidnapped her little sister, you know what I'm saying, and did that to her. Because if they were willing to show that on Facebook Live, imagine what they could have done to that young man once the camera went off. Y'all let y'all's imaginations run wild. I would not be surprised at all. We're living in a really, really sick world, and it's just really sad that people feel like this type of behavior is okay. These young black kids and those 2 young white kids who did the same thing to that disabled black man. It's really sick that people feel like this type of behavior is okay. So anyways, y'all, let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this entire viral story. And another thing I want to address too before I leave is that I didn't like the fact that they had tied this to the Black Lives Matter kidnapping. Just because they were yelling out "fuck Donald Trump" does not mean that these fucking hoodboogers are a part of Black Lives Matter. So that did bother me as well. You know what I'm saying? Because if the roles were reversed, I'm sure the trending topic would have not been Donald Trump kidnapping. Okay? So I don't like the fact that people are trying to tie these hoodboogers with a movement that has nothing to do with them. They just want to be evil and sadistic. All of these people are sociopaths. They'll probably kill somebody the next time. So I'm glad that they were dumb enough to live stream this and now that they've been caught. So the whole situation is just really, really sick. Also, that young boy that did that in Idaho, that shit pisses me off too. He's another sexual deviant and he needs to be watched carefully. And the second he fucks up on his probation, they need to throw his ass in jail and let him do them full 10 years. So I'm just disgusted with this whole situation. It just really, really got to me. I don't like to watch anybody be treated like that. It sucks. It just sucks. And I feel bad for that young boy. He's definitely going to need counseling. But it's really sad that this situation has caused so much divide and so much hate online, like it always does. So anyways, y'all, let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this entire viral situation concerning the BML kidnapping that went viral here on social media. How did you feel when you guys first saw the video? How do you feel about this story? And then how do you feel about all of the racist stuff that's being spewed on both sides concerning this situation? And then how do you feel about how people are going off on this and how the media handles this as opposed to how quiet the other situation was kept that happened just a few months ago? Let's get the discussion popping. Go ahead and leave a comment. All right, deuces. Hey you guys, it's your girl T. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share my videos. You can also visit Lovelyti.com to purchase any merchandise. Also, don't forget to click the boxes down below to watch any of my previous videos. Talk to y'all later. Deuces.